Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens. John, before we get started, did you see the big news that came out earlier this week? By the way, he has no clue where I'm going with this. That's the best part. Where are you going here, buddy? Are we talking finances, retirement? Are we talking sports?
That was the dumbfounded look on my face.
I got him. Now, normally we spend a majority of the weekend here talking about building retirement strategies, about making sure you have enough income. But what else dominates our thoughts and our passions? College football. The preseason polls have been released. John Scallan, did you see where your Tigers ended up in the polls?
Well, all I know is that we're going to stomp the Georgia Bulldogs.
Come on, man.
You know, right behind the Alabama Crimson Tide. Look, I've got you guys on the dartboard. September and October, man, the whole dream starts all over again. Great college football.
LSU coming in ranked number 9 in the preseason polls. Feel good about that?
Well, I mean, look, I hate it. When LSU is near the top, right? Big gorilla on their back. I think number 9's a nice place to be. Yeah. Team's confident. The community's confident. Everybody's upbeat. And again, I see this being the year where our coach really has to make a move. Mr. Kelly's got the gorilla on his back, but we still believe in the guy, hoping for him to really, all that expertise and all that time on the sidelines. We hope it really shows up with the purple and gold this year.
So coming out of all the media days over the past couple of weeks, Texas at number 1 in the SEC. Texas at number 1 in the college poll, followed by Ohio State, Penn State, them Georgia Bulldogs at number 4. Notre Dame at number 5, of course, followed by, to round out the top 10, Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami, 1 through 10 in the preseason polls. John Scallan, it is almost time, my man.
Talking about that monkey on your back, the Texas Longhorns, they've got to play a lot of games in the SEC. Going to be hard to keep that number 1 ranking.
All right. Can't get past Georgia there, can you, Texas? All right, let's get to it here. John, as we get started with the Retirement Roundtable, again, it's all powered by Cypress Financial, 504-732-1001. John, you feel good? You want to talk a little income, building income in retirement?
Oh, man, that's one of my favorite subjects. And yes, let's get started, because guaranteed income in retirement lasting for a lifetime is one of the key pillars of any retirement strategy.
So Olivia Mitchell is a professor at the Wharton School of Business, and she's been researching retirement for decades and recently asked a fascinating question. What could people have done better in preparing for retirement? She found out that most adults said they wish they would have saved more. They said they wish they would have waited longer to take Social Security. And she also found out that they said
older people regretted not having purchased lifetime income. Lifetime income streams would come from something like an annuity, where you purchase from an insurance company a lifetime income payout that will make it much easier for you to manage your expenses. If we explain to people how long they might live, in other words, their risk of living a very long time, they were much more likely to regret not saving and not buying lifelong income payments.
So as we're talking about annuities here, John Scallan, why do you think people who have the annuities, why do you find that they like them so much? But on the flip side, people who are planning for retirement, why do they have this skepticism behind annuities?
Mark, this is the classic fear of the unknown versus, the people who have made the decision to lock down guaranteed income. These people have what I call relief of the experienced. But here's what people need to understand. We are living in what I believe is the golden age of annuities right now. People who are skeptical usually have outdated information from the 1990s, or they've heard horror stories about old products. Those dinosaur annuities, they bear absolutely no resemblance to today's powerhouse products.
So, in your estimation, John, what has changed about modern annuities?
Yeah, Mark, great question. Everything Everything, Mark. I mean, these annuities that are manufactured today, they offer liquidity. How about inflation adjustments, death benefits for legacy to your spouse? How about transparency that simply did not exist years ago? There is so much information on these annuity contracts. What indexes you're in? How do the benefits pay? What happens if I die? But here's the thing. We're in this incredible sweet spot right now because interest rates are at levels that we haven't seen in over a decade. These products are paying rates that would have been mere fantasy just 5 years ago. Once someone actually has that guaranteed monthly income hitting their account, so much of that fear, so much of that concern about how will I survive retirement, guess what, Mark? It simply disappears. Annuities are not the end all, but week in, week out, month in and month out, as I continue to work with these great families in South Louisiana, they become an integral part, a real solid piece of a financial plan that needs to be comprehensive to last for the next 30 years.
In your view, what causes this complete mindset shift when it comes to annuities?
Mark, I just mentioned it. I mean, so many changes in this product. It's the difference between theoretical worry and actual experience, Mark. When you're getting that predictable paycheck every month, and for many people, you couple that with that predictable, guaranteed Social Security payment, regardless of what the stock market is doing. These people come to realize why Professor Mitchell's research shows retirees wish they had bought lifetime income. It's not about the product. I mean, Mark, the bottom line, don't let outdated fears prevent you from considering the best annuity products we've seen in over a decade. Today's fixed income annuities are sophisticated financial tools with rates and benefits that just seemed impossible just a few years ago. Again, this is the golden age to solve that number one retirement fear, Mark. For most people, it's outliving your income.
So, John, we hear what you have to say about annuities. Maybe we are a little skeptical, but the one phrase that you always hear when we have this discussion is guaranteed income for retirement. We want more information. We know there's some layers behind it. How do we reach out to you and the team at Cypress Financial?
Again, easy to find us. We'd love to hear from you. 504-732-1001, Causeway Boulevard here in Metairie, Florida Street, just across the bridge on the North Shore. 2 offices to serve you. We'd love to meet you, even if it's simply having a conversation by phone. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Let's work through some of these retirement challenges together.
I read an article, and this may ruffle some feathers on Wall Street. Over the last 10 years, a simple index fund beat actively managed funds 85% of the time. As the great Warren Buffett said, people will try and sell you other things because there's money in it for them. Most good salespeople believe their own baloney. That's why I suggest people buy an index fund. That's from the great Warren Buffett. So what's your reaction to that about index funds and how they act in the market?
Mark, Warren Buffett is absolutely right about one thing. There's definitely some snake oil being sold out there. Listen, I truly believe that the vast majority of financial advisors out there are qualified, they are honest, and they're committed to their clients. So for all my brethren out there in this field, I want to give you guys a shout out. But here's where I think the conversation gets more serious. For people approaching or in retirement, it's life or death different when it comes to performance and fees.
How so?
Mark, index funds are fantastic for accumulation. When you're in your 30 years old or 40 and can ride out these, drops like we saw in the S&P 500 in April. But when you're 65 and you need that money to keep the lights on, index funds can be absolutely brutal. Remember 2008, the S&P 500 got crushed by almost 40% that year. Imagine being in retirement and imagine watching your grocery money just disappear.
You know, as Warren Buffett says, or as a lot of people said, index funds are a great opportunity for a retirement portfolio, but they're not always the answer, John.
On this show, in person, at white tablecloth events, at educational events, we constantly talk about a diversified approach. You know, these index funds, they are certainly part of the answer, Mark, but not the whole answer. I use index funds in our growth sleeve for clients, but I also use structured products. Think of them like they give you index-like returns, but with downside preservation. You get market participation without market devastation. And Mark, I just want to say this again. It's not if we have a pullback. It's not if we have a black swan event like 2008. They're inevitably going to come. But with the right plan, with the right diversified portfolio, with different sleeves of your assets designed to do different things, we are sure that we can help you weather these storms and then thrive post-market correction. Think about it like this. Warren Buffett, he can afford to ride out any market crash. Most retirees that I've worked with, they just can't.
If there's anything to take away from this weekend show, I think we're going to have a lot of conversations about the number one fear for adults in retirement, and that's running out of money. Don't lose sleep because you're worried about your income in retirement. Let's have a deep form conversation about how an index fund could benefit your overall plan. John, you said it before. Tell me again, how do I reach out to you and the team at Cypress Financial?
Mark, you can reach us at 504-732-1001. Many of our listeners, when they want to book an appointment, they just go to cypressfinancial.net and book an appointment straight from the comfort of your own home. Again, Causeway Boulevard in the heart of Metairie, Florida Street on the North Shore, 504-732-1001.
As John just said, two convenient locations to meet you at a time and a place that fits your schedule. CypressFinancial.net, CYPRESS, CypressFinancial.net. And speaking of losing sleep at night, a lot of people worried about income, especially when it comes to their Social Security in the U.S. Debate continues on moving up the full retirement age for Social Security. Do you see retirement plans lasting? Are you building retirement plans lasting longer than the original, what we thought, 20, 25, 30 years? Now you're building plans to go 35, 45 years plus?
Yeah, Mark, that's 100% accurate. I mean, the numbers don't lie. A healthy 65-year-old today, good chance of living to 90 or beyond. That's 25 to 30 years of retirement, and we need to plan accordingly.
But how much different, other than the longevity, how much different retirement planning does it take between a 20, 25-year retirement versus a 30-year retirement? How different is it?
Yeah, Mark, it's a lot. That decade changes everything. I mean, your money needs to work harder. Inflation becomes a much bigger enemy, and healthcare costs compound dramatically. A traditional, quote, withdraw 4% annually strategy, it might not cut it for 3 decades.
Let's talk about strategies. How are you adjusting to fit these longer retirement timelines?
Well, Mark, we opened up the show with it. I mean, we're building more dynamic income plans, Mark. You know, instead of static withdrawals, right? Let's just pull out 4% and, you know, that gives us our best chance. We use things like our short-term bond model that's been doing about 6.5 to 7% this past year. And that money you can get your hands on whenever you want. We also use fixed indexed annuities with withdrawal benefits that let you participate in the market while providing guaranteed incomes. There's also what the acronym we call is MIGAs, multi-year guaranteed annuities. The goal is building an income stream that can sustain itself for 30, 40 years, not just 20 years.
But, John, what if we have to retire because of health-related issues?
You know, Mark, we talked about Social Security. And again, our general advice, our most common advice is to wait until at least full retirement age. Don't take early retirement and take up to a 25% haircut. But, you know, the real point here is that's exactly why we can't wait until 65 years old to start serious retirement planning. I encourage clients, I encourage listeners to this show to have their income plan locked and loaded by their late 50s, because you never know when health or corporate restructuring might force an early retirement. This strategic approach, it's planning for the longest possible retirement while hoping for the shortest necessary one. Better to have 40 years of income planned and tucked away and only need 25 years than to plan for 20 and live to 95 years old.
So who are we talking to here, John, this weekend? Because you mentioned a second ago, it's important to have that plan locked and loaded by your mid to late 50s. So who needs to hear the Retirement Roundtable the most this weekend?
Mark, I would simply say this. I mean, you know, I'm sure you can relate to this. Time is flying by. Yep. We all live in a noisy, busy world. I have this sneaky feeling, you know, that I feel like I'm young at heart. I'm healthy. I'm in good shape, you know, but there's a part of me that's saying, hey, do not waste a moment. So if you're in your 50s, if you're listening to this show, if you're in your 40s, it's never too early. If you are pushing 60 years old and you're eyeballing retirement, please pick up the phone. Come to our office, leave your checkbook in your glove box, come on in. Let us do a no obligation review of your 401ks, your after-tax investments. Do you need a Roth? Let's get this plan on the road. And at the very least, let's give you some ideas to help you move the needle and have this next chapter of your life be the best chapter of all.
Investment advisory services offered through Cypress Financial Group, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Cypress Financial Group, John Scallan, Louisiana Insurance License Number 1064997. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Cypress Financial Group. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.